welcome to Gino T's most anticipated division report, the NFC North, baby. And yes, it's all about Brett Favre, Brett Favre, Brett Favre. It's all about Brett Favre. But for now, let's start with the division leader, the Green Bay Packers, Brett Favre's former team from a couple years ago. Aaron Rodgers last year was outstanding. By the way, he's my number one pick as far as quarterbacks for this year in fantasy, but we'll get to that at another point. Solid team offensively. Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Ryan Grant, Brandon Jackson is a guy I want you to watch coming out of the backfield. He's going to be a super stud. I'm telling you, he's my super stud sleeper. You got to handcuff Ryan Grant with him. But Greg Jennings is going to have a huge year, I'm telling you. Jermichael Finley might be a top tight end, top like three tight ends rather. He's going to be super awesome this year. I really feel it. Offensively, they're going to be an exploding team, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have a phenomenal year again. Offensive line is just sick. Clifton, Spitz, it's just a tough line. They really hold up well, and I think their schedule is going to be a little tough, but they start off at Philly. That should be a very tough game for them. In a way, I think that's a game they're going to go into, and they're going to struggle a little bit for like three quarters, and then boom, because Philly, and I'll get to that report another time, isn't what you might think they might be this year. Buffalo, another easy game for them. They should win at Chicago. Usually they play very well in Chicago. Detroit, I don't think I have to say anymore. At Washington, that's a game that they probably should be able to steamroll. Washington is a team that's rebuilding. I know Shanahan's there. They're going to be competitive, but I think they should be able to take them on the road. And then they're home for Miami and Minnesota, which are going to be two tough games. One of them obviously is going to involve, yes, Brett Favre. And that's always a tough game, even though it's at home when you got Favre coming in the purple. Next, I didn't mean to skip over their defense. Defense is going to be awesome again, also with Pickett, A.J. Hawk, Woodson. Chuck Woodson's going to be a monster again. I love him. He's a Raider, I know, at heart, but he was playing great since he played better with Green Bay than he did with the Raiders almost. Atari Bigby, another guy to watch out for. Nick Barnett. Clay Matthews, one of the most underrated guys. I think he should have got maybe a defensive rookie consideration. I know he was up there, but he didn't get it. Anyway, that's my report for Green Bay. Following them up, right up the ass, is going to be, yes, you said it, Brett Favre and the Vikings. And I said Brett Favre and the Vikings. And I mean Brett Favre and the Vikings, because Brett Favre's going to come back. I mean, let's face it, the guy's been working out with weights on him, running bleachers, throwing passes. He wouldn't be doing all this if he wasn't coming back, okay? If you're not coming back, you might be hanging at home. You might even be watching my report right now online because you're that friggin' bored. But he is definitely coming back this year. You watch. And you heard it here first. Anyway, the Vikings will go as far as Brett Favre brings them. Bernard Berrien, I believe, is going to be, hopefully for them, more than what he's been in the past. Brian McKinney, Hutch, what a strong side of that line. I think Adrian Peterson should have a monster year if you can get rid of the fumbleitis. Like I said, Percy Harvin could be the guy there. Sidney Rice, I believe, is still battling that hip injury. A guy I would probably shy away from. And a guy I really would want you to look at, fantasy-wise too, but a little bit deeper. I think you'll catch him there. He's going to be a stud, Visanthe Shanko. Yes, that's what I said, Visanthe Shanko. Say that a couple times fast. Adrian Peterson, you know all about him. Toby Gerhart could be a guy that might get some goal line carries in there too. If you're in a touchdown league, you definitely want to pick up Toby Gerhart because I think he's going to get a lot of goal line stuff, and obviously you want to handcuff him with Adrian Peterson in the event of you know what. Klein Saucer has been backing up Shanko, another positive guy that comes out of the formation and blocks. Good blocker, also has good hands. Tavares Jackson, if he is going to be the quarterback, which I'm telling you right now, I don't think he will, you're going to see a lot of passes to the tight end, to the backfield. That's what else you heard here first. As far as defense, business as usual for the Vikes with Jared Allen, the Williams brothers, Greenway, Henderson, Winfield, Johnson. Very tough, strong safety. Very tough defense. Very strong against the run. They should play well this year. And again, the defense is going to be on the field as long as the offense is not on the field. And I think if Brett Favre is there, it's going to be on the field, so it's going to be very balanced, very good. Next, bringing up third place, Yes, the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears very well could be in a dogfight with the Vikes with the same record kind of thing, coming down to like a divisional thing, which I think come playoff times, the Vikes should have it. Anyway, the Bears are going to be tough this year. I hope Cutler gets himself involved more with the offense and comfortable with it, I should say. Johnny Knox is going to be a wide receiver you might want to keep an eye on this year. Forte, I think, is going to come back. From what I hear in the reports, he's playing his best camp. He's gotten over some nagging injuries. Should be completely healthy and ready to build upon that first year he had 2 years ago when he came into the league and was a monster. Devin Hester, still not really sold on him being a wide receiver. I understand the guy wants to, remain as a returner because of the fact that, obviously he wants to be a wide receiver because as a return guy, he's not going to be able to break that salary barrier. Let's face it, he is good with the ball, but you got to get it to him quick out of the snap, right off the snap, boom, go, open in space. Otherwise, you really aren't using him right if you think he's running routes or running a slot or anything like that. It's just not going to work. You got to get the guy in space, get him the ball quick and early, and let him move. I don't see him as a big-time guy. He should just stay as a returner unless they're going to use him that way and make him productive. Chester Taylor, guys there this year. Remember Chester Taylor was pretty big in Minnesota. I know he had a better offensive line. However, look for Chester Taylor to catch a lot of balls out of the backfield and pick up the slack where Forte might fall off. I'm believing in Forte this year. I had him last year, so it's a little tough to believe in him. But from the reports, I won't draft him this year early. You might want to. He's going to definitely have a better year. Anyway, Chester Taylor is your guy you want to handcuff him with. On the defensive end, Julius Peppers there this year. Anthony Adams, Tommy Harris, Hillmeyer, Urlacher, getting old. Has had some injuries in the past, has had seasons cut short like last year. Hopefully the guy's healthy. I like watching him play. Lance Briggs, want to see him kick some ass out there. He should be able to this year. He should be. He's back healthy. Chris Harris, Aflava. Yes, I said Aflava. Ala Aflava. He's another guy you want to keep an eye on at the free safety position. Very hard-hitting guy. You might hear his name a lot this year. And their schedule, Detroit, they should win that game. At Dallas is going to be tough. Green Bay, I think, is going to be a loss for them. At the Giants, could win that game. It's a winnable game for them. At Carolina, I think they should win that game as well. Carolina's not that strong this year. Seattle, depends on what Seattle you're getting. They're playing Seattle about week 6, so it depends if Hasselbeck's there, how that team is working under Pete Carroll. We'll talk about them soon. Washington, I think they should be able to win, and then they have a bye. It probably might be a good time for them. We'll see. Bringing up the rear, the doormat. I'm sorry to do this to you, Detroit fans, but yes, you have been rebuilding since 1953. Anyway, listen, Detroit is going to be a tough team, I think, regardless this year. They're going to be more offensively adapted to the system. I think you're going to see Stafford hitting Calvin Johnson, one of the best wide receivers in the game, if not the best. Get him the ball early and often. I know he's going to get double teamed, but the guy does pull some amazing moves. Nate Burleson should hopefully be able to benefit from some of those double teams on Calvin Johnson. Kevin Smith, we're going to see what happens with that guy this year. Javad Best, he might be the man there. We're going to see. I guess I know they're giving Kevin Smith another shot this year. Hopefully he remains healthy and hopefully he has a good year. He's been there battling for a long time now. But Javad Best might be the guy come week 5 or 6. Definitely handcuff Kevin Smith if you draft him. And if you take Kevin Smith, you could probably get him 3rd, 4th round easily. Other wide receiver on that team you might want to keep an eye on. Could be a good guy in the moving down the stretch as a 3rd receiver or a guy that emerges because of some double teams is Brian Johnson. He's been hurt, rumor has it, but he's healing up. And like I said, later in the season, he could become a factor. Over on the defensive side, Kyle Vanden Bosch had some flavor. Ndamukong Suh has been signed finally. He should make an instant in Detroit line. Until then, you take it easy.